guys know that I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm not even going to talk about it. So, welcome to Dale Reports. Welcome to checking your pulse every single week with emotional intelligence and Dr. Dale, right? And all that life brings this holiday season. All that life is bringing this holiday season. We were a few minutes late there, but we are here. We are here, and everything is fine, and everything is going to be fine because that's what we do. We are emotional intelligence champions. And that's what I tell everybody in my group. You're an emotional intelligence champion, meaning you don't stay on what is going on. You supersede it, you overcome it, you thrive above it, right? You keep pushing for good, better, best, right? Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best, right? Always doing better. You make it work, let things work. It will work if you work it, right? So, for those that don't know, I am Dr. Dale. I am earlier this year, completed my doctorate in business administration, where I concentrated on social impact management, right? And my specialization, social impact management, I've done my research on emotional intelligence, which is the same thing as emotional quotient, which is the same thing as EQ. It is life. It has helped me. It has helped millions, and it continues to help millions. Late last year, I got a vision. I've been doing work on myself, and after doing the research with my data collection, with all of these different administrators from these different nursing homes, I realized, hey, other people can use this too. And it has skyrocketed my experience as it relates to, I have over 15 years of working in human resources, from answering phones to coordinator to marketing assistant to legal assistant to all these different positions in different industries, to HR analyst, and then HR coordinator, HR manager, and then now chief human resources officer for in a mental health space, right? So with this vast experience of working with people and different personalities, how isn't emotional intelligence supposed to help you? It has to help you, right? So the book definition for emotional intelligence is the ability to be able to understand, manage your own emotions in a healthy way, right? That will allow you to relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, and conflict resolution. Not only conflict for work, conflict for life. Your arguments, managing conflicts with your husband, with your sister, your brother, your mom, your kids, on and on and on. All the relationship. If you're a human being and you have relationships, which we all do, personal or professional, you're going to need to know how to maneuver those different relationships. It's not always easy. Emotional intelligence has helped me. I've been on this path now a little over 7 years. And I am saying now, and along with other researchers are saying, here, this can help. And not only for one-on-one or individuals or professionals, but it's also for businesses. Do you have the right training plan that includes EQ? Right? Does your managers, if you are a manager in a department, right, in an organization, and for the past 90 days, whatever your turnover is, for the past 90 days, you have, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 people leave your department again and again and again. I am going to have to send you to do some emotional intelligence training. I'm going to have to send you to do some emotional intelligence training because something ain't right? You may be doing pretty good at the job and sales department is thriving from the money perspective, right? But if you don't have the people skills to interact, to communicate, to collaborate, to work in teams. When communicating with people on all different levels, frontline, middle management, high management, if you don't have the right skills, people skills, emotional intelligence is your saving grace. It's your saving grace. I guarantee you, you sit down and have you done an emotional intelligence assessment test to see where your managers are? Why you need to? Why? Because if you keep on having a turnover in your department and people leaving because of the manager, again, remember, the number one reasons people leave organization is not the company. They're not leaving the company. They're leaving your manager. So one person can leave. That can be an outlier in the department. I was in an organization where there were a mass exodus of 10, 15 people in the space of 2 months. Seriously? Why? But yet we keep on promoting these managers that don't even they don't have the right skills. They can gain these skills. If you're going to promote them into the position, make sure they have the right equipment, the right resources to train, to engage, to lead these employees. If they don't have it, then you're doing them a huge disservice, and it's not fair. It's not fair to them as a person and an employee. It's not fair to the employee that they're going to be managing. It's not fair to the rest of the organization, and it definitely ain't fair for the community. Because what happens is that, see, look at the circle. See, look at how this is all becomes a circle when it comes to not interacting, not having the right skills, emotional intelligence skills to deal with an employee. Look at this. So when I decided to do my research on emotional intelligence, I was working in the nursing home industry and as a human resources manager, and I've experienced an employee at their wits' end. I experienced a nursing assistant at their wits' end hurting a patient, right? And like really hurting them, shaking them. And this person, this patient was so scrawny, so skinny. Like, it was early in the morning and I had just walked in because I used to like go and visit all of my favorite patients in their room and make sure how they're doing, how they spend the night, how was their weekend, all of that stuff. So I would go, and this patient was one of the patients, and I walked in and I walked in on that. I saw it with my eyes and I was like, hey, what are you doing? And that nursing assistant was at her wit's end, right? That didn't happen. What happened there did not happen at that moment. It's been happening. So this is what leaders, and sometimes I think we don't realize as managers even, right? Whatever's going on in the department, if there is some type of emotion, employee relations, conflict, whatever, it didn't happen from one day to the other. It's been happening. Listen to what I'm telling you. This is nuggets here. It's been happening. Nobody is saying anything about it. They see it. It's none of their business. It's not hurting them. So they don't see the reason why they need to say anything. So when that happened, I saw that. What do you think happened? I voiced my opinion. I let the director of nurse know, because I was screaming. I was like, what are you doing? And and she was like, nothing. It's clearly what you were doing. And when I let the director of nurse know that this was happening, a bunch of people, everybody came, and then, whole investigation and everything happened. What do you think happened? That nursing assistant lost her job. And her license got taken away. And what do you think? The fallout from that was the coworkers were saying, the coworkers, everybody started to say, oh man, thank God, because she did this to this other patient and he went to the hospital. He didn't come back. And it wasn't one person. It wasn't two person. It was 6 or 7 people. No, you really? Like, there, it's been happening. Nobody said nothing. Because that was the practice, that was the culture, whatever you want to call it. Blame it on whatever you want to blame. But every single person that was working in that department, every single person that was working in that company, it was their responsibility. If you see something that's off, that's not right, say something, do something, right? At the very least, say it to someone, right? So that way someone can rectify the situation. So everybody else that worked with that person started saying that she was doing this to other patients, and those patients ended up going to the hospital, and some of them ended up not coming back because we went deep into the investigation, right? So that's one. The other part was talking to the manager of this employee. The manager's like, oh yeah, there were some issues there, but we didn't address it because we didn't want to go that deep. It didn't bother them, or it wasn't that important, or we got too busy. The list and the reasons go on and on and on and on and on. Number 2. And then of course, number 3, that person lost their job, which caused their family member to lose income, which caused the community that person to have to look for another whole career, right? Or move or something. I don't know, right? To loss that the community now suffered. The customers that this person was dealing with, imagine the family members that was interacting with this patient, with this employee all this time. What were their experience? So you see how the entire community suffered, and then what happens? It adds to the company's bottom line, right? The staffing, the turnover, the attrition. One thing lead to another, right? So that's why. So the simple answer was, when we did it at the end of the day, when we did a whole summary of everything and brought everybody in the conference room and talked about it, the question was asked. I asked the question: when you come to find out, this person, this employee that did this, simply had stuff going on at home, problems that started to deteriorate and cause her performance to go down. And all she needed was for someone to ask, are you okay today? Is everything okay? You seem off. The way you responded to me, that's not usually your MO. Usually you're very nice and kind, and today you're very curt. You're not even giving me eye contact. I tried to talk to you earlier this morning and you yelled at me. Like, you see how one thing leads to another? How it's important. It's vital. So if somebody had stopped and voice what they were seeing, would the outcome be different? You tell me. She just needed somebody to care enough to ask. And that's emotional intelligence. The person, the employees that you deal with on a day-to-day basis, your wife, your husband, you know how they are on a day-to-day basis. So when they're not in the best mood, if you care about them, what are you going to do? Yeah. Say it with me. You're going to ask. You're going to ask, hey, is everything okay? You all right? And you actually stick around for an answer. You don't just ask and walk away. You want to know, hey, what's going on? If your kid comes home from school and he's not in the best, or she's not in the best mood and he's crying, you got to know what the hell. What's wrong with you? Who is it that I need to go beat up? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So that's emotional intelligence, you guys, right? That's empathy. The quote says, echoing others' experience, others' emotions. You know that if you were crying, that tells me that something is wrong. And if I see that as your friend, I'm going to ask you, why are you crying? What happened? Who do we need to hurt? Do you want to talk about it? Do you need to go to a doctor so I can have you talk to somebody about it? You don't just ignore the situation and pretend it's going to go away, because it's not. I don't care who you are. You can be the boss of the bosses. If you're pissed about something and somebody rubs you the wrong way, something or someone rubs you the wrong way, it's gonna show up in your actions. It's gonna show up in your behaviors. This is real, you guys. Go do the research. It's there. It's gonna show up. It's gonna come to collect one way, shape, or form, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, whether you like it, it's gonna happen. The question is, from an emotional intelligence, me understanding that I have emotions and how I'm going to deal with them in an intelligent way. Right? Remember, we said the definition: knowing what you know, feeling what you feel, without becoming overwhelmed, enraged, callous, and whatever. Is that you? Are you doing that? How are your emotions showing up in your relationships? Is it showing up in your work relationships, in your personal relationships? How are they showing up with yourself? How are you loving and making sure that you are taking care of yourself? That's what this making sure that you are not tackling this holiday, walking into the holiday, the end of the year festivities with stress. Maximize your joy by loving on you. And that involves knowing what your triggers are, self-awareness, knowing what empathy, giving people grace and seeing it from their perspective. 3, setting your boundaries. Stop giving away all your eggs. Keep some eggs for yourself. Stop giving away your eggs. That's what I'm going to say next time. Stop giving away your eggs. Leave some of your eggs for yourself, right? Leave some eggs for yourself. Stop people pleasing. It ain't helping. You're people pleasing them so that you can displease yourself later on. Stop doing it. It's not helping you. It's not helping you. All right. That was pre-COVID stuff. Leave that old you behind. And this, with the new year coming up, this is a chance for you to reset, right? To see what's important to you. Why is it important to you? And the only way for you to do that and to acknowledge what that is to understand what it is that makes you happy. What is it? Name it. Call it out. Right? So last week we talked about the self-awareness, we talked about empathy, and we talked about setting boundaries. This week, managing your reactions. Practicing your self-awareness, it's not self-awareness, your self-regulation. Managing your own responses. If you want to be out in these streets doing this and saying whatever you want to say and giving people peace of your mind, like I say on my Saturdays when I am on Breakfast at Champion, give them a piece of your story instead. Give them your perspective so that they can understand the reason why it's important for them to not to respect you, setting your boundaries, setting your line, right? And how do you manage your reactions? How do you do that? Taking deep breath. Breathe. Breathe. Through your neck from side to side. Breathe. Do you know that when you're in stressful situation, your breathing slows down. Like you are like holding your breath throughout it, throughout the, like, monitor yourself for next time. That's your homework. That's your call to action. Apart from registering for my workshop for this Saturday. This Saturday, the workshop is going to be, what is my workshop about? It's about unlocking your emotional superpower, right? In a very few simple steps. You know, how is it that emotional intelligence is the answer, right? And going deep dive on how it can help you in your day to day and stop. And so you don't have to pop off. Pop off on anybody this holiday season during the festivities and whatnot. You can walk away with class. You can walk away with love. If you're just joining, you're joining Dr. Dale, checking your pulse with Dr. Dale on a weekly basis every Wednesday at 6:30. I don't know what happened this Wednesday. We got a little late. But we're here. We're here, right? So now managing your reactions. How do you manage your reactions? We already said breathe. Number 2, practice mindfulness. Do you know what mindfulness is? Being present in the moment. Fully present in the moment. Time yourself. I'm sure this is hard because it was hard for me to do. Practice become perfect. How is it that you can shut yourself down for 5, just try 1 minute or 2 minutes. You have to start that basic and that low because it's that hard. Some people find it hard. It's probably easier for you, but it was a little hard for me. So quieting your mind, like getting still, turning your phone off so you can't hear any notifications, right? When you wake, best time I find to kind of do this is when you wake up in the morning, first thing in the morning, and before you rushing to check your phone and looking at and scrolling online and rushing to go to work, wake up a little 10-15 minutes early. But when you wake up, don't get out of bed. Wake up and sit in bed. Just lay there in bed, awake, sensing your body, sensing how you feel, your thoughts, being thankful. Doing your breathing, breathe in and out a couple of times. Be thankful for being awake and alive another day because so many people didn't make it. Take time to be in tune with your body, be in tune with your mind, feel what you feel. Do you have any body parts that's hurting that needs to be stretched, right? Stretch your toes, your foot, maybe you have like a yoga session going on. I started this way. I just laid in bed a couple of minutes and just slowly starting being in tune with me before I plummet into the world and all the things that you have to do and how you get busy with the kids and the husband and the family and the mom and the dad. I'm important. I'm the most important thing in this world. Because if you're not okay, everybody else that's around you, that depends on you, is not going to be okay. So it's best that you, in order for you to help them, you got to make sure that you are approaching or approachable, right? Because if you just keep on rushing in today and just rushing into things, then how are you, when you're constantly, how are you servicing the people around you? Don't you want to be at peace? Don't you want to make sure that you're the best mom, the best dad, sister, aunt, that you're being that best person? Because I tell you something, I've seen and experienced working in the nursing home industry, and I've seen so many elderly laying in bed and right before, in their last days, And the first thing that comes to their mind is never ever. And the last thing that comes to their mind is never ever. Man, I didn't make that meeting. Man, I should have called my sister and cursed her out. It's not, oh man, I should have gave him a piece of my mind before I go and leave this world. That's not what they say. That's not what they say. They're asking for forgiveness. Some of them are out of it. They just start saying things that doesn't make any sense. I remember this one elderly lady that didn't have any kids. And I remember talking to her because I would go my lunch break and I would go and talk to them and, my favorite patients. And I said, do you regret not having any kids? And she said, no, I don't. And then fast forward to years, months, when she died, before she died, the conversation was, I guess I should have had kids, or I guess I should have. I tried calling my sister. I haven't talked to her. I tried to talk to her, but she don't want to talk to me. She didn't have a good relationship with her parents. She certainly didn't have a good relationship with her siblings. And then she said with her mouth, she don't regret not having kids. And that may have been true. But then why are you saying? She used to tell me about this boyfriend and this guy that she thought she was going to marry, but she never wanted any kids. He wanted kids and they separated. But you're telling me this now, but then before you were telling me, man, I wish that I'd marry him, but I didn't marry him because he wanted kids and I didn't want any kids. He's been in that nursing home for a long time. And she died alone. She died alone. Her sister wasn't there. Her parents had already died. And she regretted not having the relationship with her sister, at the very least. So again, I say to you, you want to be all tough? Great, fine. If that's what makes you happy, I'm happy for you. Do that. But if you want to have thriving, successful, joy, fulfillment, peace, harmony, inside and out, then you got to get a handle on how you're showing up from an emotional standpoint. Right? So again, we said breathe. We said mindful meditation. There's so many things you could try. What is it that is going to make you happy? What puts you in a great mood? What does that look like? For everybody, it's different. But you only can ask yourself these questions when you do your self-awareness, go through and find out what your triggers are. What makes you happy? What are your weaknesses? What are your strengths? Right? What are some relaxation technique? I love massages. Right? And every so often I go do my massage because that relaxes me. It puts me in a great mood. I'm smiling more than I'm smiling now. Right? I always focus on staying present, and I celebrate my long-term wins as much as I celebrate my short-term wins. My short-term wins are 2 months from now, a week from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, right? My long-term wins are my longer projects, my longer goals for my life. But I don't wait until the big ones happen. I celebrate the small ones every day. Because again, you are the most important person in this world. What you say matters, what you want, you have a seat at the table. Don't wait to be invited. Invite yourself. Invite yourself. So the other part that I want to make sure I leave you guys with is avoid taking it personal. People say things and do things. So people are going to always do what they do. People are fickle. So they're not touching you. Let it go. I say that so many times in my life. And I know it's the hardest thing for you to do because you want to help. It's not taking away your money, your energy, or your money, your energy, or your time, which are your three most valuable things. Let it go. Get it out of your life. Whether it's a it or a who. I don't know. Who is that or what is that for you? I have my notes here. It says, recognize that another person's stress may have little or nothing to do with you. You listen to what I just, it may have nothing to do with you. People are going through their own stuff. It's not all about you. So let them, just like you, I say it on my live all the, cada uno es un mundo. I am from Honduras, meaning every person is a world. Let them go through their shite. Give them grace. Don't let them affect your three important things: your money, your time, and your energy, right? Move them to the side and you keep going. Avoid internalizing their stress as a reflection of your actions or worth. Maintain a perspective of understanding that their stress might be due to various factors unrelated to you. It's not all about you. So stop letting other people's stress become your stress. Don't do it this holiday season. Don't do it next holiday season. Don't do it no holiday season. In no season should you be doing it. Summer season, seasoning in the kitchen, all of it. Don't let it, because you're too precious. Okay? You are way too precious. So with that, I am going to remind everyone that I have my workshop this Saturday at 9. Come join. It's going to be interactive. Making sure we're going to be, I'll be tackling like, I'm giving some futuristic stats on emotional intelligence and why it's important, the benefits, not only for you personally, but also for you and your business, right? From an organization standpoint. So that's one perspective. The other perspective is, we're going to be, I'll welcome the participants to share questions and, how, if they have issues at work, how are you dealing, my thoughts and recommendation and, all of that. And I have the 7 steps that you can use to become and own and be your own, overcome your own emotional superpower. You need to become your emotional super. You have to have it, because if you don't have it, then I just laid out a bunch of things that can come with that, right? You are the boss of you, and you can be the boss of you with intelligence. And the intelligence doesn't only start here, right? It starts here, right? Because you're human. Okay. So I think with that being said, I'll see you guys after you sign up for my workshop. And I'll see you get back here next week. When? Next week, Wednesday at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys. Love you guys. I'll see you guys next week. Nothing but love. Love yourself, most importantly, and know that you are worth it. Be the boss of you with intelligence. Bye.